is a foundation to a successful life that makes all of this easier to accomplish and to do. And that is taking good care of yourself. And that might sound like so cliche, like blah, blah, blah. No, people do not realize that wellness is the foundation for success. People believe, this goes back to, you think you have to stress and struggle to achieve success. They think they have to stay up late and get up early and work really long hours and stress and struggle and literally kill themselves to get to it. The world's most accomplished people, we studied for 20 years and we found everyone knows that how they take care of themselves is key, number one for success. Because when you take good care of yourself, you have the energy, clarity, courage, confidence to be that positive being in the world.
Welcome back to the Max Out Show, where today I'm joined by McKee, CEO of Sana View. Janet is a certified high-performance coach, wellness expert, and has been awarded membership into the National Association of Experts, Writers, and Speakers. She's the best-selling author of Stresslessness, and that's exactly what we'll talk about today. How to build a life of passion, purpose, and prosperity. So Janet, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Max. I'm thrilled to be here.
I'm super excited to have you. Feel the energy already. And so I want to take you back for a couple of years. In studying you and researching you is really fascinating because it really seems like you have these two parts of your career. And I want to take you back to the end of the first one because you actually did something that many people, maybe of the listeners maybe actually aspire to. You were, executive at a Fortune 500 company. You had sort of made it at life. And yet that wasn't quite the case. And you actually faced a challenge that made you sort of end that career. So can you take us back to that pivotal moment of your life and share with us how that sort of shifted your trajectory going forward?
Yes, excellent the way you introduced that. I appreciate that insight so much. I was always a high achiever, Max. I have to admit, I graduated top of my class in high school and undergrad and graduate school and was promoted very rapidly in my corporate career and 2 Fortune 500 companies, had that incredible dedication, focus, but success came from this idea that I had to literally or figuratively, you'll hear it's both, kill myself, right? To climb the ladder. I had to just give it all and stress and struggle and strive, right? And I did achieve success, but not without paying a huge price. And as I was experiencing this really high pressure, high powered job, all that stress and pressure took me down. And I developed an autoimmune disease and landed in the hospital with an illness I couldn't understand and couldn't control. And the doctors came to me and said, we don't really have hope for you. And their options were really frightening. So I said to them, I'm not going to accept those options you're giving me. One was they want to put me on a medication that causes cancer, or they want to start removing my organs.
Wow.
And that's how bad I got, just with all that stress and pressure. But something came over me, Max, a power from within me, above me, I don't know, and just said, no, I'm not going to do either of those options. And I got myself out of the hospital and through trial and error learned how to heal my body naturally. And from that, left the corporate world, went to Columbia University to study in New York City, to study health and wellness, and worked in that regard for decades. And it's amazing because if it wasn't for all of those the health challenge and all the issues that I experienced, which were debilitating, I would never be as healthy as I am today and would have never learned everything that I needed to help others, right, achieve incredible health and well-being. I help people reverse even life-threatening health challenges. It's really amazing. So I look back on that and realized that issue that I experienced, that challenge, was actually a gift. And from that, I learned so much. And now healthier than it's been decades of no illness whatsoever, no medication whatsoever. And the doctors told me that was impossible. But as you may read, and if you want me to talk about it, I then hit more walls in my life after that. I was running a successful health practice when my husband of 26 years walked out on me and our son in an hour's notice and left me not only heartbroken and just our family ripped apart, but left me on the brink of financial disaster. He had put liens on all of these investment properties that I developed with the money I made in the corporate world for financial stability for our family. But he put liens to buy a business that at the time he left was failing. So I literally was facing bankruptcy and didn't know how I was going to support a home for me and our son. So that led me out to study with world masters in success, achievement, abundance, high performance, positivity. And each one was like this delicious morsel that I would taste and savor. And they would help me somewhat, but I kept finding myself feeling stuck. Like I really wasn't getting to where I thought I could get in my life, believe it or not. I mean, I don't know, has that ever happened with you? You read the books, you take the seminars, and they help a little bit, but you know that there's something greater.
Yeah, there's more to life, right? Yeah.
And you just haven't yet discovered that. Well, through those years of study and research and trial and error and so forth, I discovered an incredible idea that changed everything for me and my clients. And that's what I share in Stressless Success that we're going to share today.
Yes, absolutely. Love that. And so before we really dive into that later on, there's so many nuggets of wisdom already in that story. And the first thing that really came to mind here and that like your story inspired me was this idea that our greatest struggles are also our greatest gifts because they allow us to grow and then later to contribute. Because it really seems like everything in your life, all the big challenges that you face, first that health challenge and then that financial and business challenge, that like you use those challenges, sort of found a solution for them, and then later began contributing to the world by sharing those solutions and helping other people that are going through the same like transition and difficulty in their lives actually master those things. So I love this aspect of taking those struggles.
You bet. And let me stress, what you brought up is very, very important. I know we hear that all the time, that, oh, your challenges are gifts and they make you stronger and blah, blah, blah. Well, here's what you want to take from that. Yes, of course. If it wasn't for my health challenge, I would never be as healthy and vibrant as I am decades later. If it wasn't for my heartbreak and my financial challenge, I would never be as happy and successful as I am today. Like each one I'm grateful for. And that all sounds great. But here's how you apply that in the concepts of stressless success. Challenges happen. They continue to happen all the time. Now you'll notice that less of them happen when you apply what we're going to talk about today with stressless success. But things happen in the world. It's part of being in this world. I mean, look at everything we're dealing with these days, right? But the key point here, Max, is when a challenge arises, instead of stressing over it, instead of getting fear and anxiety over it, because we actually believe that the stress and the struggle and the fear and anxiety in some way is protecting us. We think we've got to worry about something because then we'll figure out the solution, right? Well, when you just pause for a moment and accept a challenge and realize like, okay, I've faced challenges before that have helped me grow and become so strong and wise. I wonder what this challenge may show me or teach me. Just right there, doesn't that feel better than fear and anxiety and stress? That's one of the key points of stressless success. It's how you just begin to feel differently when you're faced with a challenge.
Yes, and I think that's such an important point. And this really brings me to one of my favorite ideas ever, which is sort of this happiness success equation that most people have in their lives. I mean, most people think they need to stress and struggle and suffer for years so that then they can succeed, which then they think will make them happy. But as research has shown, and as you have shown also, is that like that is not the case. So can you show us why that equation that most people have is totally broken and why it's actually just stresslessness that helps us succeed more in life?
Fabulous way that you worded that. And what a great question, Max. You're really excellent at what you do.
Thank you.
So what has been discovered is that it's not about our mindset, it's about our energy. And it's kind of like, think about the feeling that you have right now. That's what you're giving off. And in basic terms, it's like a sixth sense that people have, right? You have a sixth sense about somebody. When they walk in and they're really angry and they're frustrated, you can feel it from them. And it's the same thing when somebody's just open and expanded and happy and hopeful and excited about life. You can feel it. And you're like, wow, what's going on with that person? I want to spend more time with them or learn from them. Well, what's been discovered is that we have more power within us than we ever knew. And the idea, as you stated it, is we're taught as we're growing up, and we believe that in order to get to success, you must really fight hard and stress and struggle. Even people out there talk about grit. It's like, oh my goodness, no. Yeah, you will get to some success, but you have no idea the level of success you could actually achieve more with ease, more with elevated and expanded energy. So what happens is, and scientific research has begun to uncover this, is what happens around us is a reflection of what's going on inside of us. So if you are stressing and struggling, right, you literally are putting up walls of resistance. And those walls of resistance, because you can feel it, right? You're like really fighting hard and like struggling. It doesn't feel good. It's like, but you believe that that's what you must do to get to success. But all you're actually doing is putting up walls of resistance. And those walls not only block solutions, opportunities, and possibilities from coming to you. And I'll give you real specific examples. Like ideas and opportunities that want to just flow to you. But when you stress and struggle, you block them. And also, as you work in this mode of stress and struggle and resistance, because you're working against these walls that you built, it wears you out, right? That's why people are so overwhelmed and exhausted and stressed out, which is a majority of the world's population, which is why I'm so passionate about sharing this. But when you learn that the opposite is actually the truth, that when you learn how to break down those walls of resistance, things flow to you. I mean, trust me, I got to success through stress and struggle, but I almost killed myself doing it, right? Well, when I began to play around with these ideas, amazing things started to happen for me that I could have never created through heavy thought and focus. Just by shifting me and the way I felt and my energy, I get a phone call from Jack Canfield, who's like a multi-million best-selling author, to be interviewed on Hollywood Live, because they heard about the work I was doing. Like, I didn't pursue them out of focus, stress, and struggle and out of my head. I just started shifting me and relaxing me and opening my energy up. They came to me. Brian Tracy contacts me, his people contact me about contributing a chapter to a book. He's a business legend, right? And success and achievement. Contribute a chapter to a book. I mean, you see what I'm saying? Greater success than I could have ever created through stress and struggle arrived at my doorstep. All I had to do was open the door and allow it in. And I'm not saying you don't take action, but there's a very different thing that happens when you take action out of mental focus and stress and struggle and grit and striving versus taking action from elevated and expanded feelings and energy. When you take action from that place, you get better results, and results you could have never even imagined with your head. And guess what? It's far easier to shift the way you feel than it is to control your thoughts. Have you ever tried to control all of your thoughts all of the time?
Yeah.
And it doesn't work, right?
It doesn't quite work sometimes.
You can't do it. So give it up. That's what everybody out there's saying. Oh, you need a positive mindset. You just need to have mind control. No, wrong. And the more you try to struggle with your thoughts, think about it. We try to wrestle our negative thoughts to the ground. Oh, you're not supposed to have negative thoughts. You're only supposed to have positive thoughts. That's all stress and struggle, and it doesn't work. So we're going to talk about getting out of your head and into your energy, which is far simpler to do and far more effective to achieve success.
Yes, I absolutely love this so much. I think this really fundamentally, it's changed my life. And so I'm super passionate about this. So before we dive into this, just for our listeners, if you just think back throughout your life, throughout the last week or month even, you think back to a time where you were in those negative states, where you were stressed out and frustrated, or maybe depressed, or you had some kind of anxiety, and just think back at how hard it was in that moment to be the person you wanted to be, to take the right actions, to go to a gym if you said, I want to lose weight, to eat the healthy food, and to go and study if you really just didn't want to do it. It's so hard from those negative states to act as the person that we want to be. And yet, on the other hand, when you're happy and you're excited and you're inspired and you're just in love with life, all of these things stop to take any effort, right? It's like effortless. You just go to the gym because it's just like part of life and you're having fun, right? It's just like, if you can learn to get in these positive states and create this energy from the inside out first, all of a sudden, all the stuff that you want to do on the outside becomes so much easier. And so,
yes. But when people say, Max, is okay, that sounds great. And I know that when I'm having a great day, everything goes great. But when I'm having a bad day, do not tell me to just like be happy. That doesn't work. And that's where the mistake is that so many people have made, especially a lot of speakers and authors, about this whole positive mindset thing. Yes, when things are going great, like you just described, you feel great, everything goes well. You want to keep that positive momentum, and positive thinking and positive thoughts are easy to achieve when things are going well, right? But when things are not going well, and you just described that, when you're having that phase of your life where you're feeling so negative and down and hopeless and frustrated and fearful, do not try to think positive thoughts. And that is the key secret that nobody out there is talking about. And may I explain that now?
yes, please.
Okay, because first, right? When you're in that negative place and you're just feeling angry and frustrated and shameful and guilty, all of those like bad feeling thoughts, number one, don't fight against them, okay? Because that's the first thing we try to do is like, oh no, I'm being negative. I got to get rid of those negative thoughts. When you push against something, you make it stronger. You give that the energy, okay? You don't want to push against your negative thoughts because they'll just become stronger. And that's what a lot of people are encouraging you to do when they say, oh, you got to get out of that negative slump. You got to start thinking positive, right? Because then you try to fight against those. And I have a chapter in Stressless Success, which is titled, Negative Thoughts Are a Positive Thing. Now, wait a minute. Isn't that a crazy thought? Well, let me explain. And then we'll get back to how to do this. When negative thoughts are natural, we're humans. We're going to have some positive, happy thoughts. We're going to have some negative thoughts. And again, we're not going to try to control our thoughts. That's impossible. You just want to be aware of them. Imagine you're driving down the highway to the life of your dreams, right? You're heading toward the life of your dreams. And you start to daydream and you veer off the road. And as you veer off the road, you hit those rumble strips on the side of the road. Boom, 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 right? Do they have those in Germany and Switzerland and all those?
Yeah, they have those.
I don't remember. I've been there for a while. Do those rumble strips on the side of the road, right? Boom, 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 feel uncomfortable. So that's like a negative thought. But guess what they do? Those rumble strips protect you from driving off the cliff. They're a good thing, right?
Yes.
Well, your negative thoughts and feelings are the same. They're the rumble strips on the side of the road, letting you know that something is affecting your energy, which is going to affect the outcome of your life. Everything that happens around you is a result of what happens from within you, which is so amazing because that's where all the power is, right? Is within you. You're no longer going to be a victim of what happens around you when you realize all the power is in the palm of your hands. So when a negative thought or feeling happens, you'll notice it feels uncomfortable. And that's like, oh, I'm choosing a thought that feels uncomfortable. And that's going to take me off my path, but that's okay. I'm human. I'm going to have them. So what could I do instead that'll help me to feel better and get me back on my path to the open highway toward the life of my dreams? Because it all comes from within me. So that's when you just recognize it, you accept it, that you've had a concerning thought, when you accept it and you realize it's there to help you, it keeps you from driving off your cliff, then you can begin to make adjustments. When you accept something, it feels better than fighting against it, right? So first you accept and say, oh, why am I choosing to feel this way or to think this way that's causing me to feel uncomfortable? And is that really what I want to feel like? Because I know that creates my outcome of my life. Or what can I do to feel better? So here's the two important things. Here's how to get through this place of negativity, right? Number one, you don't try to just leap to a positive thought. Because if you're really struggling about something and you're like, I'm really fearful about this, I'm really upset, but everything's fine, everything's going to be good, right? You'll notice that you still have that fear in your energy. Let me explain, if I could take a moment, Max, and how I discovered this, because it'll become clearer for everybody. I do a lot of one-on-one consulting with clients, and I do on-site workshops and off-site leadership retreats and live group coaching online, all of that. But I was working with a client of mine, and she's the CEO of a $250 million company. And she said to me, Janet, I want to start working with you because business is really stressful, but I'm most concerned because all the stress and pressure that I'm under, even though business is going well, is I'm worried I'm developing a chronic disease or an illness because I have chronic pain in my abdomen. She said, but don't worry, I know about mind and body connection, and I've taken all the seminars, read all the books, all the webinars about positive thinking. So what I'm doing is before I go to bed at night, I'm repeating to myself positive affirmations. And I said to her, I said, Monica, what are you saying to yourself? She said, I go to bed at night and I repeat to myself, I'm healthy, I'm healthy, I'm healthy, while she's feeling pain. And that's when I realized, Max, she was trying to force a positive thought about something she was fearful about. And all that was doing was creating more fear. It was putting more fear into her energy field. So imagine, I told her, imagine you're on a ladder. And right now you're on the low rung of a ladder and you're feeling stress and pain and fear and anxiety. If you try to leap from the low rung of a ladder to the top rung of a ladder, what's going to happen? You're going to fall off the ladder and break your leg or worse, right? Yeah. You can't do it. Cannot. So I said, okay, Monica, we're going to go one rung at a time with little thoughts that feel better because you believe them, right? You don't believe that you're healthy, so you can't leap that far. So I said to her, Monica, you're a smart woman, right? Yes, I am. And your body is showing you that something's out of balance, correct? Yes, it is. So you are a smart woman. You're going to be able to find solutions, and your body's showing you that something's out of balance. So the pain is actually good because it's going to give you an opportunity to search for solutions that'll help. Yes, it is. So the pain is actually good because it's a sign showing you that you need to do some things to make improvements. All of a sudden, do you know what happened? When she realized the pain was actually good because it's a sign from her body that something's out of balance, the pain started to diminish. Wow. Okay. But what are we doing? We're climbing the ladder, grabbing a hold on each rung with solid footing. Now at one point, so this is what I want everyone to do. When you're facing a challenge, you're at that low rung, you're feeling negativity. What little thoughts can you begin to think that feel? The important thing is how they feel, that feel better. Now, that's step one. You start to climb the ladder. But at one point, you're going to get a little bit too far on the ladder and it's going to feel uncomfortable again because you're not ready to go any further. This is step two. You get off the ladder, you walk away from the subject, walk away from what's upsetting you, and do anything and everything that helps you to feel better. And you've heard these things before, but this is really important. Things like prayer, meditation, gratitude, appreciation, get outside in Mother Nature, dance and sing to music that's uplifting. Do anything that you love that helps you to feel better off the subject. Now what you've done is you've opened up your energy, you've expanded yourself, You no longer have those walls of resistance. Now your energy's expanded. Now go back to the ladder and see how you climb further. The feeling and energy of a problem is completely different than the feeling and energy of being open to solutions. That is the secret to success, is just doing these things that help you to feel better, even slightly. You do not have to be perfect at this. When we were releasing Stressless Success, we were doing our book launch. My son and I, he works with me, he's a business partner, and we had never done our own launch. We've done other book projects before, but we were doing our own launch. And we were new at doing a launch ourselves. We were learning what to do, but every morning, Max, before we started working on our book launch, we said, okay, how's your energy? How do you feel right now? And we were nervous, we were worried, we were concerned, we were, trying to learn how to do this. But every morning we're like, how's your energy? Okay, well, I'm a little bit concerned. What can we do to just feel slightly better? Just slightly. You don't have to be perfect at this. You don't have to be a bliss. Just slight shifts get huge results. We were just slightly expanding our energy out of our concern, right? Just slightly. We were hoping to get to top 100 because then we call ourselves bestseller. And then I thought, wouldn't it be cool to be in the top 10 because then we'll be show up in the search engine? Just by slightly improving our energy, Max, we got the #1 bestseller in over 5 categories.
Wow.
Okay, so you don't even have to be perfect at this, but this is deliberate intent. This is creating your life. Because you're no longer just a victim of what's happening around you and being fearful. You're taking your power back and you're saying, okay, what can I do right now? I'm no longer fighting against negativity. I'm accepting it. I'm realizing it's there to benefit me. What can I do right now to feel slightly better? Even if it means just listen to your favorite song and dance around your office for a little bit. Slightly better, and then get back and take action from deliberate creation, from creating from this expanded energy, not from stress and struggle. And you are going to be shocked at the results that you get. It never ceases to amaze me.
Jen, I love this so much. I'm literally getting the goosebumps right now because I truly believe that this right here is the key to life. Because when we take control of that energy and of the emotions and how we feel, we take back the control of our lives. Because the reality is, and I think one of the biggest struggles that people face is they think we're these logical and rational creatures that will simply do what we're supposed to do. Bam, bam, bam. That's just not true. The reality is we are driven by our energy, by our emotions, how we feel. And so when you can learn to take control of that from the inside out, as you said so well before, when we can learn to take control of that, all of a sudden, it's easy to take all the steps on the outside world. It's easy to do all of that stuff because we're feeling whole and we're feeling complete on the inside first. And so I absolutely love that process. And there's so many nuggets of wisdom that I really want to dive deeper. I want to first start with the meat of the sandwich, as you call it. This aspect of believing, because that's one of the biggest struggles people have, I think, when they're trying these affirmations and they're saying, I'm so positive, I'm so happy, I'm so successful, but they don't actually believe it. They don't actually feel it. And when you're just saying this stuff without feeling it, what's going to happen is you just feel like you're lying to yourself. And it's not going to work. So how do people create that kind of belief in the kind of affirmations and the self-talk that they're using?
Brilliant. You're amazing. I just love your energy. I just can't. I'm looking at your face. You're just incredible. You make me feel good just looking at you. I've been all
likewise. This is fun.
So that comes from, you must have read my book. Thank you. So Napoleon Hill was known for saying a very famous quote, what the mind of a man can conceive and believe it can achieve. And what we think of and what we're taught and all of this law of attraction stuff, which is brilliant and it is true, and all of this positive thinking thing, right? Whatever you can conceive, you can achieve is what we focus on. But the quote is, what the mind of a man can conceive and believe it can achieve. But we focus so much on conceive and achieve, that's the bread, right? That we forget about the meat of the sandwich. And I joke about that because I happen to be vegetarian. And so I say it's not the meat of the sandwich, it's the avocados and tomatoes and cucumbers and sprouts, but whatever, you get the idea. It's the nutrition. Yeah. The real nourishment is between the pieces of bread in that sandwich. So the real nourishment, the real key is the beliefs. But here's what so many people in my field talk about. Oh, you have to eliminate those limiting beliefs. That's the same as fighting against a negative thought. What happens when you try to get rid of those limiting beliefs? You're fighting against them. You're pushing against them. So guess what gets stronger? The limiting belief. It's just another, beliefs are just a thought that you've been thinking for a long time. Esther Hicks was known for saying that. I thought that was brilliant. A belief is just a thought that you've been thinking probably for most of your life. It's just a thought. So don't fight against it. The secret, Max, is you accept that you have some limiting beliefs. Guess what? We're all human. Some of the most famous, successful, multi-million-dollar public speakers still get nervous before they go out on stage. Okay, would they all still think that they're somewhat less than, or they're going to make a mistake and they have fear? It's okay. You do not fight against limiting beliefs that everybody teaches. You know what you do instead? You create new ones, right? Yes. Like I did with Monica. Like, you're a bright woman, yes. And the pain is your body showing you that something's out of balance and needs to fix. That's a new belief. Instead of a belief that pain is bad, we switched her belief in a way that feels better. So we're no longer fighting against. We're creating new. And it's kind of funny because I joke around. I'm also a farmer. We have a son of you, which you're one of the few people that pronounce that correctly, by the way. Son is Latin for wellness.
And I had Latin for 5 years.
Oh, I can tell.
Finally paid off.
Yes, European descent, which is my father too. So son is Latin for health and wellness. So we provide a view into how to live a healthier, happier, more successful life. Well, part of our business is Son of You Farms. And so I'm a farmer too. I'm an organic farmer. And so I'm planting these seeds with you, right? To understand, you want to plant the seeds of new beliefs. You're not going to fight against those old ones. That's natural. Of course you're human. We're all going to have those. But when you nourish, you water, you fertilize these new beliefs and allow them to grow because you're focusing on them. You feel good about them. You're not fighting against limiting beliefs. Isn't that a new way of thinking about beliefs?
You know, I absolutely love that. And I truly believe that the process of building those new beliefs is finding some bigger truth that actually is stronger than whatever we're believing right now that's holding us back, right? It's like, it's finding something that is more true and more powerful than the old story that we kept telling ourselves for months or years or decades of our lives that has been limiting us. And so it's really about really drilling down to the truth of, you said pain is a signal, for example, right? And finding some alternative truth that will actually help us move forward, and then constantly nourishing those plans and those beliefs.
Max, you just said something so deep and so powerful. I must comment on this. And I do not share this often on these interviews and podcasts, which I've done a lot of, because only certain people get this. And I can tell you do. So I'm going to share something with your audience that I have not shared with others that is really, really even deeper and even more powerful. The truth, you just said. What is the truth? The truth is that we're here in these physical bodies, but that's temporary. The truth is that there's a greater part of us that is eternal, if you believe that, okay? And even if you don't believe that, there's still this greater, you can sense it, right? This part of you that is really expansive and powerful. Well, whatever your beliefs are, your inner being, your higher self, your soul, whatever that is, that's your truth. Your truth is that's who you are. So can you remember for a moment who you truly are? Because when you know who you truly are, the rest of this stuff is like these little challenges are like meaningless. So who are you truly? You are truly a powerful, beautiful, deeply loved, incredible being of joy. Do you know that? That's who you truly are at your deeper, higher self. Can you just then for a moment, when you're feeling down and out, remember your truth, who you truly are? And can you tap into that? Do you know what I do? I bring my soul down, my higher self, and I feel that greater being of me all around me, and I feel the unconditional love and joy. That's actually a secret of how to tap into incredible eternal joy. It's there. That's who you are. That's your truth. I've never shared that online with anyone before, only to my private clients. So I hope you don't mind me sharing that.
You know, Jen, I love this so much. And before we maybe dive even a little bit deeper into that, I first want to validate what you said, also from personal experience and working with people, because one of the beliefs, for example, that I've struggled with for a very long time in my life was like, I'm not good enough or not experienced enough, right? I'm 24 right now, just started my own business. And so I started working with these Fortune 500 companies with people like twice my age, like way more experience, of course, and stuff, right? And so one of the things that was holding me back from really going and like pitching my services, for example, was like, well, I just don't have the experience yet, right? So like I was so focused on that. And then I really started wondering like, okay, what is an alternative belief? What is the actual truth? And what I realized is like, I have like, it was very aligned with what you just said, right? I just focus on like, who am I truly? And I realized I'm just an abundant human being with so much more energy and so much more passion than virtually anybody I've ever met. And I know that with that energy, if I go there, then even if I don't find the right words, maybe, even if I'm not perfect in my delivery, even if things could be improved and things could be better with experience, I know that with this kind of energy, I will change people's lives. And once I had that new belief of like, if I go with this electrified mind, as I call it, full of energy and fire, if I go there with that, then even if I don't have the experience, it doesn't even matter, because I would cure people. I just wanted to be better, really. And
Oh, yes.
that really fundamentally changed everything for me. So I really want to validate what you just said. I absolutely love that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So a couple things. First of all, who you truly are is incredible wisdom. The young people, you're several decades, you're about the age of my son, by the way. My son's the same age.
Yeah.
And so you're several decades younger than me. And I know, this is why I'm so excited to be on this podcast and speaking with you and your audience, probably often people similar age, is that the younger people today are coming with a much more incredible wisdom than the older generations like myself. And you're also coming, those of you that are really thriving and will thrive are coming more with that open, expanded energy. Okay. Like there was a time when, and maybe there still are, right? There's some people at your age that are really struggling, that are really got into that negative hole. But there are more and more in your generation that have come to this earth with so much more wisdom around this. You're open and you're more open to this. You know, when I often speak to someone my age or older, they say to me, oh, Janet, you're just being Pollyanna. Like, oh yeah, no, you don't understand. I've been through so much in my life. And they often are kind of like closed to these concepts, but I work with them. And it's really fascinating that when I start getting them to play with these ideas, they're like, oh my goodness, I had no idea. And you're never too old, you're never too late to learn these things. But your generation is so wise beyond your years. You've come to this planet to make this positive shift that the planet and the people of the planet need. So that is your truth. You are needed more than anyone, and the work that you're doing. And that's why it fires you up too, because that's your soul speaking to you. Right? Yes. So you are on the right path and you keep doing this. When I was your age, people your age weren't as successful and have the audience, right? The exposure that there wasn't even the internet when I was your age, right? If it was just for the government or something. So it's incredible who you are and what you have to offer. And guess what? This other thing I'm going to mention is that's a sign of a high performer when you say, well, I could have been better. I could do better. I could communicate better. First of all, you have excellent communication skills.
Thank you.
But a high performer, and I do the same thing. How can I be better? Always. A true high performer, which we study the world's most accomplished people, they're always saying, well, this part of my life is great, but how can I get to the next level? So that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, saying, how can I communicate better? How can I do better in my business? That's a sign of a high performer. So you've got it. You've got all that it takes. And so do many, many people in your generation.
Yes, I think this is truly a special time because now for the first time, people are waking up, I believe, to the fact that there is more to life, that there is more to this, happiness, success equation, that you can be a high performer and abundantly happy and healthy and wealthy inside. and that you can combine these things. And at the same time, I think there's so much incredible wisdom also coming from the generations above us, right? From me reaching out to people like you that have gone through those experiences and can share that, so that people, as me, we don't have to do the same mistakes as you did, maybe, right? We don't have to take those 20 years and learn from ourselves, but we can look at people like you that inspire us and be like, well, I'm going to learn from those mistakes. I'll take what I like, leave out what I don't, and then I'll learn from this and I'll skip ahead for like decades. And I think that's such an important process.
We've all learned from our older generations, and that's what we do. We all pave the path for the next generation to be better and stronger. But let me just mention something that you reminded me of. You talked about very early in this interview, that people believe that once they get the job or the partner in their life or the money, then they'll be happy, right? When the secret is you get happy first.
Yes.
You've got to shift your energy now. Find reasons, even slightly, to feel joy now, or to have fun, or feel good now, even if it's slightly, because then success flows to you, because everything you want in life is waiting to meet you at your energetic level, right? So stress and struggle to try to get to happy is just going to block it. It's going to make it really hard to get there. And then you're not going to be happy when you get there because you're burned out and stressed out. So everything, that's, like you said, it's a secret to life. And I don't mean to sound so arrogant on that, is about shifting where you are now with what you have now. And the rest will come. You'll become inspired with ideas that you never would have thought of, right? And all kinds of things. So yes.
Yeah, there's this quote from Leonardo DiCaprio that I absolutely love. He said, every next level of your life demands a better version of you. So it's about shifting ourselves first, so that then afterwards we can shift the outside world. And I absolutely believe in that. I truly, truly do. And so I'm super curious, for people right now, they're struggling. This is obviously for many, many people, a really challenging time with a lot of suffering involved for many people. So but people listening to this right now, they're going through some tough times, maybe in their jobs, maybe in their health, maybe they're just worried about what the future will bring. What are sort of the steps to start getting out of that? You mentioned this really, I would sum it up as almost a non-judgmental attitude to how you're feeling, to truly experience and accept that. Like, how do people go and start move beyond that?
Great question. So let me just mention, this is not just Janet McKee, like talking about this crazy idea that sounds a little bit too good to be true. It's been started to be proven in scientific research. So just want to give some validity to all of this. And I don't know if you've stumbled upon quantum mechanics, which is a theory within quantum physics. And they did a study that became famous years ago, actually, called the double slit experiment, where the focus of the scientific researchers changed the outcome of the study. So that's the first time they couldn't believe it and they couldn't understand it. Why, when they focused on something, they got one outcome. When they looked away from it, they got a different outcome, but something that they weren't even touching, right? That's when we began to uncover, and in quantum physics, they talk about the power of our focus, but I want to clarify that I think the reason why there's some confusion around that is because it's not about your mental focus. It's about how the focus makes you feel. Like, are you really have your heart involved and your passion involved, right, in something? So that's very important to recognize, and not to be arrogant again. I think they're missing that a little bit. Okay.
For sure.
But this has been proven in scientific research that something coming from within you affects what's happening around you. Right? So let's take that back to your question on everything's happening in the world today. Like, oh my goodness, we have every reason to be concerned and fearful. Well, are you going to continue to give your energy away, your power away to everything going on in the world and be a victim? So what are you giving off then? That victimhood energy of fear and anxiety and worry. What kind of results are you going to get? If I just told you that scientific research has proven that what you give out, you get back, we just need to be aware. Like, wait a minute. I'm giving out fear, worry, anxiety, hopelessness. if I keep giving that out, I'm going to keep getting it back from the world around me, because now I'm starting to understand that that power is within me and coming from me. So what do? Go back to the ladder. Number one, what can you like, okay, we're having some challenges in the world, but I wonder what we're learning from it, right? We're learning some things. And isn't it interesting how researchers from all over the world are putting their heads together to work together to come up with solutions? And right, so there's little things you can do to try to climb the ladder. Or maybe you're facing a job situation. Well, it's kind of neat in a way that I can be home right now and get more things done, and I have a little bit more time. Or what can I begin to develop that will give me more sustainable financial stability going forward? And right, we're learning from all of this. But again, if you cannot think better thoughts that feel better about the challenges in the world, what's step two? You walk away from it and do something that feels better. Prayer, meditation, dance and sing, and get outside of Mother Nature, whatever. Look at a picture of someone or something you love, right? Focus on anything, a flower, the trees, even if it's raining out or snowing out, like that's all good. The earth needs all of that. Whatever it is, just turn away, do something that feels better, and you will be shocked at what begins to arise. You might get a call from someone about a job opportunity or business opportunity, or you might find out from your bank that they're going to delay the requirement, for certain payments, or you may realize that we're learning so much about personal hygiene and about our health. And, so there's all of these things, but you got to take your power back. This is the perfect time to learn this and not learn that you are not a victim. Max, when the pandemic first hit, all my business got completely shut down. Things got canceled for like 3 months. I'm like, oh no, what am I going to do? Do you know it caused us to be aware of our energy? And my team, we started to brainstorm on our ideas. Do you know my business is more successful than ever?
Wow.
My business, I actually have too much success right now. Is that possible? Like I can't even keep up with it all. So how is that possible that through the issues in the world today, my small businesses, I own 3, are actually experiencing more success than ever? It's because we took our power back and just I couldn't get perfect at it, but little by little shifted my energy, and my team, we worked together, we shifted our energy, and incredible things happened that flowed to us. So now is the time to learn these very skills and take your power back.
I love this message so much. I truly believe this is the ultimate competitive advantage. If you want to, if you're a struggling business owner, if you've been like whatever, right? This is the advantage that you can gain now by getting that mental edge, that emotional edge ahead of your competition. This is what's going to set you apart during these challenging times when everyone else is going to be tempted to quit and give up, or when they're so stuck in their head, worried and feared of like what they might lose. And you can, in that mindset, create a positive energy from which you can go, how can I expand now? How can I get better now? How can I use these months and however long we're going to be stuck here, and how can I actually grow from this experience? When you can make that shift, that is the ultimate competitive advantage in business. And also it's going to make it such a more enjoyable experience of life. I think
you are so brilliant. Oh my God. That's exactly right. So this is what we call taking action from a better place of energy, because then you're going to get a better result. That's true productivity. That's true competitive advantage. As a matter of my son, who just graduated from college, he was trying to look for a job, right? And he was scared because it was the pandemic. Like, how am I going to find a job? I just, through all of this. And when he tried to go from his head, because I have to find a job, he was getting results that were making him feel uncomfortable, right? So one day he just came in and said, I got to stop stressing out about this. I just got to go clear my head. I'm going to go meditate. He's not even an expert meditator. I'm going to clear my head and meditate. Do you know within seconds, he got a phone call from a recruiter of the perfect job he was excited about? Okay. So he landed that job. It happened for him, right? Because he shifted his energy. But the job is in sales. He's in technology sales now. And he said to me, Mom, I'm going to crush it, because I'm the only one that understands that it's about my energy and that's what I have control over. And as I go forward and contact clients and customers about selling this product to them, I know it's all me and my energy, and I'm going to get incredible results. He just started the job yesterday. It was his first day on the job. So imagine the competitive advantage from all the other salespeople out there, from the other companies that don't understand that the power is within them. Like this is crazy. What's going to happen? So, and think of all the people that are listening to this, and you, like the success is going to be phenomenal because you realize it's all within you. Isn't that amazing? I just can't believe you picked that up. Like we know that this is true competitive advantage without me even saying it. You hit the nail on the head, Max.
Yes, you know, I absolutely love that story, and I'm absolutely certain that your son is going to start crushing it. And at the same time, this is also the key to relationships, right? Like I've observed that, like when you're in that kind of state where you're just so much fun, like you just genuinely so excited about life, and you're jumping up and down like a little kid, like it just makes you so much more attractive as a person for like all of your friends and your partner and like your family and all of that. It just makes everything so much more enjoyable to like be around you. And so this is really the key to success in any area of life. It's like first creating that excitement in life.
Well, having influence in your life, your personal life, your professional life is one of the keys to success. And I teach that in my coaching program. But when you are influential, think about it. You're a good role model and you're giving off people look up to you. They want to hear what you have to say. They want to learn more from you, right? That's because you are just this being of good, expanded, elevated energy, of, you know, positivity. But think about it in your relationships. How many times do people like they focus on what's wrong in the relationship? Like, well, I don't like when they do that. And I really, you know, and I need to control them and make them change and all of that. How about instead, what do you love about that person? Yes. What is so awesome about that person or this relationship? How about giving that your energy and your focus? And then, oh my gosh, guess what happens, Max? So instead of the person like rah, 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 at you and yelling at you or being bad, all of a sudden they start treating you differently.
Yeah.
You know that? Like that's unbelievable power. And it's not manipulation. It's creating a good outcome for you and your loved ones. Like that's what that is.
Yes, it also goes back to this Pygmalion effect that I'm so fascinated by, which is like your expectations of the other person actually create that other person, right? So like in teachers, for our listeners, right, in teachers, those studies were done. If you tell a teacher that a child is gifted, they tend to treat that child like that. And they tend to expect that that child is the smartest kid in the world. And guess what? That child is going to live up to that expectation because the teacher is going to treat them differently. And so if you do that to your relationships, if you tell your partner they're the greatest person in the world, if you tell your best friend that he can be this incredible athlete, and you hold them to that standard or from a positive intent, what's going to happen is they want to live up to that because they want to be challenged. They want to see like, hey, can I reach that next level of my life? And so they start to act better. They start to live better. And so I love this.
There's a story from one of my clients, and he's amazing. I never run out of time, but he has a resume longer than my long, skinny arms. He was a general in the military, and he's an elected official and everything. And he came to me. He said, Jen, I want to work with you because I'm just miserable. I'm frustrated. I tried everything, and nothing's working. He said, I've been working with this opponent of mine. We're on this council, the city council together, and we hate each other, and it's awful, and I'm miserable, and I can't wait to get out of this being in politics. I can't stand it, and blah, blah, blah. And so I started working with him. Within a few weeks, he started getting compliments from this opponent's friends. They end up traveling together on business and getting along. He can't even believe it. He said it was impossible to improve that relationship. It was so far gone. They hated each other so much. It was making his life miserable. He started to shift him. We can't change the other person. We just shifted him. He cannot believe the result that we get. Now he's a guest speaker on all my empowerment leadership retreats. Jeff is his name. And he's amazing to share that. And at first he said I was a Pollyanna. He said, oh, Jane, just being Pollyanna. And he started to see the results. He cannot believe it. So you can even take someone that's a challenge in your life and that you hate each other and all of that and turn that around. That's amazing, amazing power.
Yeah, you know, it's a lot of this. So just quick question to interrupt here. I think you said you're available until 1:30. Is that right? I don't want to hold you up that late, but I'm just loving this conversation. So I just want to see if we can.
I'm fine to keep talking.
Fantastic. Yeah, no, there's just so much brilliant stuff here. I'm just loving this so much. So I'm so curious, like, what are some of those personal practices that you started incorporating in your life then? Like, with this morning ritual and evening ritual, what are some of those personal habits that have really given you the maximum benefit in that area?
Okay. Oh yeah, very, very good, because we didn't really talk about that. Absolutely. There is a foundation to a successful life that makes all of this easier to accomplish and to do. And that is taking good care of yourself. And that might sound like so cliche, like blah, blah, blah. No, people do not realize that wellness is the foundation for success. People believe, this goes back to, you think you have to stress and struggle to achieve success. They think they have to stay up late and get up early and work really long hours and stress and struggle and literally kill themselves to get to it. The world's most accomplished people, we studied for 20 years, and we found everyone knows that how they take care of themselves is key, number one, for success. Because when you take good care of yourself, you have the energy, clarity, courage, confidence to be that positive being in the world. You know how when you're exhausted, everything's difficult, right? Like every little thing is like stressful. When you're rested and you're feeling good. So number one, I take wellness priority. You heard I was a wellness expert, right? For decades. I go to bed early when it gets dark. And I know for the younger people, it might not, but it's been proven that the hours before midnight are the most healing and rejuvenating for your mind and body. Also protects you from things like viruses, by the way. But try to get a really, really high quality rest. Sleep is so important because it's not just rest and rejuvenation. It's when you change everything within your mind and body chemistry. Okay. So get high quality rest is key. Wake up when the sun rises. Very first thing I do, first I go to bed early, get high quality rest. Very first thing I do in the morning is I pay attention to how I feel and the thoughts that are creating that feeling. Because, we wake up in the morning, we're like, we worry. Like, oh no, I got to get up. I got to do this. I got to, deal with my boss or blah, blah, blah. Okay. That's the first thing by human nature we do. The world's most accomplished people do not let just thoughts happen to them. They reach for thoughts that feel better. So I started to play around with that, Max. I'd be like, okay, today's going to be an interesting day. I can't wait to see what people I meet and I have conversations. And I used to play around with that. And I was noticing my days were being better and better. Do you know what I say to myself now in the morning when I wake up?
What do you say?
I say, today is going to be the best day of my life. But then I get, what does it feel like? This is what's key.
Yes.
It's not just in your head. What does it feel like to have one of the best days of your life? And I lay in bed before I get up and I get the feeling, right? Before I even get up. Then I get up. So before I even start my day, I'm working my energy. I'm expanding my energy. Then I drink fresh water. Every cell of your brain and body is at least 70% water. You need to be hydrated to think clearly and to deal with stress and pressure, right? I eat real foods grown naturally. You also heard I have an organic farm.
Yes.
I eat a lot of plant foods. You don't have to be vegetarian or vegan at all, but the animal food you eat should be naturally raised. Try. Remember, whatever you put in here is going to affect your whole brain and body chemistry. People don't realize. So put the best in here. Okay, you want the best life? Put the best that you can find in here, okay? Real food grown naturally the way Mother Nature intended. Move your body and breathe fresh air. What do you need for energy, clarity? You need hydration. You need blood flow that's going to carry oxygen, right? And deep breathing to the cells of your brain and body. Right there, you built the foundation for high energy, clear thinking, and a successful life. And it's been proven. So wellness is key.
Yes, I can only underscore that. I truly believe you need that energy, right? And without that, at the end of the day, you're not going to get off the couch and go work on your dreams if you don't have the physical energy also. I think this is really vital, creating that physical energy to be able to go out and go after your dreams. And also what you just said about getting into that feeling, I find that so powerful. People talk about gratitude all the time. What I personally find actually more powerful than that is excitement. So looking at like the day ahead or the week ahead or the month or the year ahead and visualizing those goals for that time and then going and stepping into that feeling. So truly visualizing how you're going to feel when you get there, when you achieve that goal, when you run a marathon, or how you're gonna feel when you meet that person, and the kind of excitement and joy that you want to bring to that conversation. And when you can step into that every single morning after once you get out of bed, that's a whole nother morning than you go and checking your phone and checking emails and all the crap that people do. So I think this is really key, getting into that feeling of excitement, of joy, of gratitude, whatever it is.
If you ask your brain a question, your brain will try to find an answer. So if you can't, when you wake up in the morning, if you can't feel positive yet or feel good, ask yourself a question. What can I be excited about today? Yeah. You said a really key word, excited. What can I be excited about today? Because when you ask the brain a question and then just let go and be open for answers to come to you, and then you begin to feel it. So that's one way you direct your mind to feel better, to give you better feelings when you ask a question like that. So that's one of the things to do. Also, let me mention that it's not just the morning that you build that foundation of wellness and energy. One of the other things I do too, Max, which helped me continue to feel excited all day, and this comes from the High Performance Institute, is about every 50 minutes or so, and you can find your own length of time, but I set an alarm on my phone and I take an energizing break. Because think about it, then we're start to be on the computer and we start to become drained, right? Because we're working through things. Stop and then drink fresh water, move your body, breathe fresh air. Sometimes I just do some push-ups, some jumping jacks, or I go walk outside. I come back to my computer and I just feel like I'm on fire with positivity and good energy. So you got to take those energizing breaks throughout the day, which help you end the day more energized than you even started it. So many people end their day so exhausted. And then avoid things like try not to overdo caffeine, because I noticed that it depletes me by the end of the day instead of energizing me. But you have to see how you feel, watch things like that. But also what's really helpful is to avoid simple sugar. Simple sugar will give you that spike, but it'll cause you to crash. And it doesn't mean you have to give up sweet taste. And gosh, just contact me, Janet at janetmckee.com or whatever. Or go on my website at sonaview.com, and there's all kinds of recipes and ideas to do healthy desserts that have no simple sugar. I even create desserts to satisfy that sweet craving that are actually good for me. So all of these things are part of that wellness concept, but you can literally, like I said, end the day more energized than when you started. And go back to asking your brain questions. Let's say you start to feel tired and say, okay, why do I feel depleted right now? Because you want to learn from your mistakes, right? And what can I do right now that'll boost my energy in a healthy, strong, foundational way, right? What is one thing I can do right now to help me to feel better? And just see what comes to you.
Yeah, and the beautiful thing is that the next tiny step is always available. So you'll always find something tiny you can do to start shifting in the right direction. And as you mentioned before, a couple of minutes ago, is that you can make these tiny shifts in how you feel, and it's already going to have a massive impact in your ability to actually generate influence onto the world. So I find that so fascinating and so important. So Janet, we talked about a lot of great ideas, a lot of great insights today. If you could give our listeners just one piece of homework, one action step to take away from this and start applying it in their lives today, what would be the one most important thing?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked that, because here is the summary of it all. And there's a whole section of Stressless Success that's get out of your head and into your energy is the title. So I just want everyone to just start paying attention to how are you feeling? What is this energy that you're giving off? Remember that sixth sense, right? That people have of you. What am I giving off right now? And just ask yourself that throughout the day and be aware of it, because awareness is the first step to shifting it. And when you're aware, and all throughout the day, I do this to myself. I was okay, what energy am I giving off? How am I feeling right now? Then just being aware, then you can start saying to yourself, okay, what is one thing I can do to feel better? right? Have a moment
Yes.
of clearing my head and meditation. Be grateful or experience appreciation about something in the moment, right? Get outside in Mother Nature, listen to an uplifting song. So just all you have to do, and this is the secret to life, Max,
Yes.
is be aware of the energy that you're generating from within you. And then what can you do to create a better energy? And everything else is going to happen for you. I want people to write to me and tell me, oh my goodness, this is what started to happen, when that's all you have to do. It's so simple. I'm not saying it's always easy, but it's so simple. And you've got that power right in the palm of your hands.
Yes, yes, and that's why I absolutely love your message. Now, before I ask my final question, where can people find you online?
Yes. Please go to janetmckee.com. If you want to learn about how to contact me, how to gain access to free resources that I have, we also, during times, we give away copies of the book, Stressless Success, for free, or we'll send you excerpts from the book that we think will be the most effective for you, all complimentary. So please visit janetmckee.com to learn more. If you want to get some recipes or some other ideas, you always can go to saunaview.com.
Awesome. I'll put up the link to that. Now, what does it mean for you to max out your life?
I'm maxing out my life right now. And what it means is to experience every moment to the max, to be in the moment and to revel in the creation process, because it's in this moment right now that we are creating. So to expand that energy, to feel that joy, and that is where you are going to maximize your potential, is right here in this moment and in every moment. So be aware of where you are in that moment. And that is how I maximize my life, because I'm passionate about sharing this. I want everyone to have this information, and that all comes from my heart. It comes from my soul. And everyone has the ability to do something in their lives that they feel passionate about. And you can uncover that in the final chapters of Stressless Success. So please do grab a copy if you can. It's also available on Amazon and anywhere books are sold. But again, just come to janetmckee.com and we're going to share those with you.
Janet, thank you so much for coming in the show. It's such a blast.
All right, guys, that's it for today. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you gained some valuable ideas, tips, tools, tricks, mindsets, belief systems that will hopefully inspire you to take your life to the next level. At the end of the day, guys, it's all about application. The only thing that's going to set you apart tomorrow from where you are today is how much action you take with those ideas that you gained. And so I really want to challenge you at this point to, not just listen to this passively, to not just consume this, passively, just think about other things, but to really take those lessons, take those ideas that you just gained and start applying them to your lives, to really start taking action and sprinting towards those goals and those dreams that you have in your life. Now, guys, at this point, I want to ask you for a huge favor. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider heading over to iTunes and leaving a review, as that helps me really grow the show and reach more people, impact even more people around the world. If you have a family member, friend, a loved one maybe that you think could benefit from this content, please consider, sharing it with them, forwarding to them, as that helps us really build a community of like-minded people that are all about maxing out their lives. Now, guys, with that being said, thanks so much for tuning in today. I really, really appreciate it. Stay strong and see you tomorrow.